Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We'll go ahead and get started with today's guest. Our first question, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thanks for having me. My name is Jay Rudman. I'm the CEO of Topstep, and Topstep is an organization in the futures and Forex trading space. Now, what the heck does that mean? That basically means that we enable retail futures and Forex traders around the world to practice in a safe environment. They can practice trading against real-time markets and real-time data, and we're evaluating their performance in real time. What's really cool, though, is that not only is this a game, but if they're successful in the game, we actually graduate them out of the game into live markets, and we give them our own capital to trade in those live markets thereafter. And then it becomes a profit split for those that are successful.
Interesting. That's a very interesting and a good, safe way to do that. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for sharing that. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
Well, one of Topstep's values is that empowered people yield great results, and we live that every single day. So the part that I enjoy best about working with a team is that basically empowering them with the work and then almost getting out of their way, acting as a mentor, acting as a lead, and providing that guidance. But really, they're the ones that are most close to the problems. And therefore, the best part of it is watching that magic happen once you provide that guidance, but really letting them do the best that they can thereafter.
I love that approach. I love that approach of just letting them do their thing, give them instruction, get out of the way. I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's a problem at all if you're not micromanaging them. If you're micromanaging them, yes, it's hard to get them engaged. But if you're not, then they really shouldn't be fully engaged. Again, as I already mentioned, team members want to succeed. They want to be successful. They want to show how well and how competent they are in what they do. And as I already mentioned, they know the problems, they know the solutions. They just really want the opportunity to have some deep thoughts, to challenge those the challenges that they're faced with, and really to succeed. And so it's really not hard to get them engaged if you can successfully just lead them and allow them the time to be successful.
Great comment. Thank you. Question number 4, what other piece of advice would you give to leaders of teams?
It's hard to boil down to just a few, but I'll try my best. So first of all, I think hiring the best is by far the most important. Slow down, take your time, really hire the best. And what that means is you really have to understand what the competencies are for what you're looking for. Don't go in ambiguously thinking that I'm not certain what I want. You really have to be very definitive what you want and articulate that to the candidate so they know exactly what they're stepping into. And then once you make that hire, onboard them slowly. Do not throw them into the work right away. I think that is a big mistake that I've made in my past careers, and I've seen other people make mistakes. You really need to onboard them first about the culture and then the job. Because if you onboard them about the culture, they're going to cement into the organization and really live the values and be the team member that you're looking for in the organization. So first culture and then job. Don't even think about having a productive worker per se for the first maybe even 60, 90 days. We don't think about it that way in Topstep. We really slow them down and onboard them slowly. And then it's, as I've already mentioned, it's your job to ensure that the individuals know why they're doing what they're doing. You don't have to articulate the what or the how. You have to explain the why. And if you try to do the what and how, 1, you're going to be wrong. 2, you're going to disempower them. 3, they're going to be frustrated because they're like, well, you're just micromanaging me, as I already talked about. And then lastly, give them a really realistic time frame to get things done. The worst thing is to say, I need it tomorrow, when that's 1, artificial, and 2, doesn't really provide them the opportunity to dig deep into the challenge and come up with really cool solutions. If you're, asking for something fast, you're not going to get quality. It just doesn't happen. So I believe in, hiring the best, onboard slowly, really explaining the why, and then giving them time to actually solve the problem.
I love those 4 steps. Those are fantastic. Thank you for sharing those. Well, question number 5, what other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Oh yeah, well, that's a great question. There are so many; it was hard to distill down to one. But I want to give a big shout out to a gentleman named Raman Chandra. Raman is basically the co-founder and lead of an organization here in Chicago called the Junto Institute. That's Junto. And basically, he's a big believer in emotional intelligence and really thinking about how to lead teams through love, to be quite honest. Yes, we can all guide people successfully in the business world, but how do you do it from the heart? And Raman is a big believer in that. I've really listened to a lot of what he said, and I think it's really perpetuated itself well at Topstep.
Well, that's a great recommendation. I obviously have a close relationship with that person, so thank you. Well, last question. Tell us about your first job.
It was like many people of my generation, a lawn service, right? It was pushing lawnmowers in suburbia St. Louis, excuse me. I had every single lawn on the street, and it was great because not only did it fill my summers in the summer or in the sun, excuse me, great physical activity, and boy, a cash business at the tender age of 13, 14 years old was wonderful. So I really enjoyed it and did it for a number of years, and then I actually sold it to a neighbor of mine, so he picked up all the accounts.
Very good. We have that in common then, because I did the same thing at your age. So,
Yeah, it seems like the kids don't do it these days, but maybe, I don't know.
well, that's great. Jay, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
You can find us at Topstep. We actually have two different websites, topsteptrader.com and topstepfx.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. It's J Rudman, Rudman.
Perfect. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great day.